We are back with another episode of my weekly recap where I go over the things that I worked on over the previous week. I'm adding a new feature, which is a craft soda. I've went ahead and already opened that up, and I'm drinking a Stewart's root beer. I read that the Stewart's root beer was supposed to be the best tasting root beer, at least voted that. It's pretty good, but I don't think it's the best tasting root beer. I'm still on a journey to figure out which one that is. If you got some craft soda or craft root beer that you think's awesome, drop it down in the comments and I'll try it out. For today, though, I'm going to stick with the Stewart's. Several things that I worked on, but let's jump right into the Lego compatible 3D printed letters. The next one I had to do was B, and I made that out of the Polymaker glow-in-the-dark green. This stuff glows great and was fairly easy to print with. I didn't have any issues printing this one, and it turned out great and was very popular when I posted that short to YouTube. The next one I did is the C. I had a little fun with this one and went with a Cookie Monster theme, and we're using Overture Blue for that. I did have a couple issues with this one. I had two different times where the print failed, and it was adhesion issues with the build plate. So after playing around with that a little bit, I just needed to do two things. I bumped up the temperature on the build plate to 65 degrees. The other thing I did is I had some wonky settings for my cooling. My default settings for my cooling was to turn on at 100% at layer 2. So I bumped that way back. I didn't even turn on the fan until layer 5, and then at no point did I get above 60% of the fan. As soon as I made those changes, I didn't have any issues with it adhering to the build plate, but it made for some interesting time-lapse videos to watch those fail. That was it for the 3D printed letters. Once again, I'd love it if you guys jumped down below and gave me some more suggestions on what filaments to use, different brands or different colors. I'm trying to do some research to find some fun ones to play with, but I'd love to hear from you guys on what I should be using because there's a lot of letters left in the alphabet. Next up is the desk. I didn't do anything on the desk. If you remember from last week's video, the desk is almost done. It's in my daughter's room. She's using it, but the drawer faces aren't done yet. I put one coat of primer on those. I need to sand that primer, and I need to put 2 coats of paint. I was worried about the paint freezing out in the shop because the temperatures are getting colder here, so I moved it inside the house. But I really need to jump back out there, get those taken care of, and just be done with the drawer faces. Then I can call the desk done. But she does want me to put some extra drawer space in there, some little sliders in the drawers to give her some more room. But I can hit those up on a future project. But it'd be really nice to get the drawer faces done and check that off my list. I don't know if it's going to happen next week, but I hope it does. Next up is the minimalist wallet, and I did get some work done on that. So if you recall, I'm doing a minimalist wallet made out of veg tan leather. Okay, I dyed that saddle brown, and so in the first video, I actually like to cut out the templates and paper first and give them a test. So you saw that last week. You saw me cut the pieces of leather on the laser, and you saw me dye it. But now what I had to do is do the edge burnishing and then put some leather sheen on there to protect the leather. So I do the edge burnishing, which is on the 2 edges that I won't have access to once it's assembled, and I use burnishing gum for that and a burnishing tool. And that's just rubbing it back and forth, creating friction, and gives you a nice smooth edge. After that, I did some leather sheen. The sheen on there does some protection from the elements, so moisture and whatnot. Water gets spilt on it. It'll give it a little bit of acrylic protection on top of that leather. That was that video there. The next one was gluing up those pieces. When I first did a version of this wallet, I didn't glue up the pieces. And the one thing I didn't like about that is the final edges kind of feathered a bit, and you could tell that it was separate pieces of leather. So I want to see if I glue those, if the final product will look better on the edges, kind of like a solid piece of leather instead of a bunch of individual pieces. So I put glue on those. We're going to see how that plays out. There's still a few things left to do. I need to sew up that wallet, and I need to do the final edges on there, but then it will be done. So I'm hoping by the time I'm doing this video next week, I'm telling you that the leather wallet's done and I have it here to show you. That would be awesome. One of the last things I want to do this week is feature one of my older videos. I did a video a while back called YouTube Sucks, and I'm building one of the drawer boxes for my daughter's desk, actually cleaning up and doing some edge banding on the front of it, while I discuss the trials and tribulations of YouTube. YouTube is a big environment with a lot of videos out there. You spend a lot of time editing and filming and creating this project, and then sometimes nobody watches it. Sometimes you even get negative comments or people saying that was a waste of time. So check out that video where I discuss the struggle while you get to watch me work on this drawer box. It's a good one. And like all of these other videos, I'm going to compile them into a playlist and you can check it out right here. You can watch those videos until you wait for my next weekly update or the next time I post a short to the platform. Have a good one.